Hello, it's Paddy here, and today we're going to make some mincemeat. Some people say mincemeat is hard to make. They're wrong. Mincemeat's really easy to make. And the good thing with making mincemeat is when you're at the shop and trying to buy some jars of mincemeat, you kind of think, shall I buy 1 jar, 2 jars? And you think, shall I get the fair trade one or the organic one? And oh, it's £4.50 for a jar, and £9 seems really extravagant for mince pies. And when you just make your own, you can make a great big bowl full and keep going till you use it up, and you know you can just make some more if you need some more, and you can make it however you want, and it impresses people. I'm just amazed how impressed people are when I say I've made my own mincemeat and my own pastry. Both really easy to make. So, mincemeat, out of interest, is not meat. It's probably more of a tradition in the UK than a lot of countries. But I think the tradition of mincemeat was, the original mince pie was a pie with minced lamb or minced beef in it, and the idea of the mince pie was meant to be the cradle containing the goodness of Jesus, which is meat apparently. Not great for vegetarians like me. But over time the people put extra stuff in, nuts, fruits, lots of spices, and eventually our mincemeat, what we call mincemeat now, is not meat at all. You can easily make it vegan. So, despite mixed fruit being the main thing that people always think of in mincemeat, most of it is actually an apple, or the mincemeat I make that works well is mostly apple. I've got a cooking apple here, one should do. It always seems like too much apple, but it's always about the right amount. So I'm going to chop this up into little bits. I'm not even going to bother skinning it. Best bits under the skin, as some people say. Might even be true. I'm chopping this fairly fine, just to make sure the bits of skin are quite small. I don't want to have big bits of skin in there. The amount I'm going to cook this, the big bits of apple are going to break up and go quite mushy anyway. Okay, there's all my apple, ready to go. And I'm going to put this in a Pyrex oven-proof bowl, because it's going to get quite hot later on. Probably not much above 100 degrees, even if that. But I'd be a bit worried about a plastic bowl being in a microwave for so long, because yes, I'm going to use a microwave. That's the only kind of cooking thing I'm going to use for this. It's a lot easier than, well, a lot quicker than using an oven. And a lot cleaner as well. Nothing's going to get burnt on the bottom unless I put it in for way too long. That could be a bit disastrous. Right, now let's start adding stuff. I've got some ground star anise here. Aniseed powder would do just as well, but I'll stick some of that in. Basically, you're just putting in all the herbs and spices you can think of that might taste nice. The dried mixed fruit, of course. I'm not really measuring anything here, I'm just putting in a lot until it looks about right. Because I know I'm going to eat all of this anyway, eventually. Oh, that smells nice. A little bit of vegetable suet, it's a bit optional, this one. Adds a bit of extra fat to it, really. I'm not quite sure what the point is, but it doesn't do any harm. Ginger, whoop, not too much. That's nutmeg. Bit of nutmeg. Whoops. Not too much nutmeg, because nutmeg's poisonous if you eat too much, apparently. Some cloves. Adds a good smell to it. What else have we got? Don't forget the sugar. Tip in some soft brown sugar is the best, I think. With white sugar they take all the good stuff out, but this stuff is proper. It's still got all the bad sugariness in it, of course, which will make you fat. but it's got some minerals and other things in as well, which are good for you. That's a bit of cinnamon. Put in some of that as well. There we go. And nuts. Every kind of nuts you can imagine. That's some flaked almonds. A few cashew nuts as well. I think I'm not going to put hazelnuts in. That doesn't feel quite right to me, hazelnuts. Now we need some kind of liquid. There's a number of liquids you can put in. I mean water obviously, but I'd rather have a bit of flavour. Oh, and before I do that, a little bit of salt. A little bit of salt in anything sweet always adds a bit of goodness to it. Not too much. You don't really want salt flavoured mince pies. You can add ginger beer, for example. You get a great bit of fizziness there with the sugar. You can add cider, but you can use orange squash, lemonade, Coca-Cola would probably work as well. I'm going to use some red wine. I'll just open that up. And the great thing with making your own mincemeat is you can select the ingredients too, and you can choose to use local ingredients to an extent. I mean, obviously I can't get local almonds here in southwest of Britain, but you can get fair trade stuff as well. I'm going to put some wine in mine. Squish that around a bit. Do. Bit more ginger beer as well. This is a very strange cocktail. I'm going to add a little bit of water. I don't want it too wet, but actually the when I'm microwaving it, the water's going to boil off a bit anyway, so I can get away with quite a lot with this mincemeat mixture. The quantities and the technique is fairly loose, which suits my cooking style very well. I've also got some black syrup here as well. Let's get this open. It's called molasses, I think, in some countries. Oh, it's got a great smell, just so dark. Probably don't need very much of that. Just stir that in. So I'll just mix everything around a bit. Stuff's so sticky. It does smell like some kind of odd medicine at the moment. And that's the thing I've always noticed when I make this, is that at the moment this smells like it's not really going to be very much good, and I think I've really screwed it up. I've messed up my mincemeat and I've wasted lots of lovely ingredients. But when I put it in the microwave for a while, it suddenly starts to smell a lot nicer. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking it's not fruity enough. It needs a bit more fruit. And I'm going to put in a little bit of vanilla essence as well. Right, and now that's going in the microwave for a while. Okay, it's had 6 minutes so far in the microwave, and bear in mind, if you're doing a smaller amount, 6 minutes will have cooked it a lot more in the microwave. It still looks pretty rubbish, doesn't it? It looks like lots of bits of apple floating in a loopy stew. I might add a few extra things as well, just for fun. Why not a few sesame seeds in there? This will help thicken it up a bit. Some pumpkin seeds. Got a few sunflower seeds as well. These are all very good for you. This apple's still fairly solid, so it's going to need a lot more boiling to mush it up. And that'll let the flavour out as well, and everything will amalgamate a lot better than it is at the moment. Yeah, I mean it's not even properly hot yet. I can still hold it in my hands. Right, now I'm at the stage where this is still really liquidy and it doesn't smell very good at all, and I'm feeling disheartened, but I've been through this stage before and I think it's going to be okay. I have made a mistake. I've put in too much liquid. So when you're following this video, making your own, don't put as much liquid in as I did, because this is not right. But the good old microwave will boil it off all in good time, so just keep going. Everything you've put in is good, so it's going to taste good in the end. Just keep boiling it. Okay, this is starting to get properly hot now, and it's going the right way. It's getting a bit thicker, and it's starting to smell more fruity and more mincemeaty. So, as always, I think it's going to turn out okay in the long run once I've boiled off a bit more of this liquid, because mincemeat has to be, has to stay on the spoon when you tip it upside down, really, or close to that. So we've had 18 minutes of microwaving so far on full power, but it needs more. I can manage that just. Okay, now that bowl's been cooking for probably the best part of half an hour, which is quite a crazy amount to put in a microwave. That's looking about right, I think, though. There's a little bit of liquid here, but not a lot. It's smelling right now, smelling much better. Smelling like a kind of proper Christmassy smell. The fruit's all kind of puffed up a lot bigger in the heat, but nothing's burnt, which is good. It's still nice and damp. So I reckon that's about right. And of course, as it cools down, this liquid's going to get a little bit thicker with the black treacle, and with the suet in there will solidify a bit too, I reckon. So, that's homemade mincemeat. You got a massive amount, that's about 3 jars worth, and all not really much time to make. And now you know how to make it, you can make more, and impress your friends. So, happy Christmas, and make mincemeat. Oh, that's hot.